production of the Mississippi State University Extension Service.
Today on Farm Week, the Port of Gulfport has gained a new tenant to offset the loss of Chiquita.
The new Albany Home and Garden Show continues to grow in popularity.
In Southern Gardening, get some ideas on how to make a babbling brook in your landscape.
In the markets, the government says U.S. catfish processing is down as volatility picks up in the soybean pit here in late May.
In the feature segment, you'll go to Perkinston, where a family says a lack of stress and a grass diet makes their beef tasty and healthy.
And contrary to what a lot of people might think is that the flavor of the beef is gamey, that is just not true. If you raise your grass-fed cattle on good pastures, you're going to get a very flavorful beef. In fact, there's some studies that show that people chose grass-fed flavor over grain-fed flavor.
Good day, everyone. I'm Leighton Spann.
And I'm Artis Ford. Welcome to Farm Week.
The Port of Gulfport, Mississippi has attracted a new tenant to ease the loss of Chiquita to New Orleans.
Leighton, the Port of Gulfport announced Monday that a company which supplies the oil and gas industry will build a fabrication facility at the port. Up to 100 manufacturing jobs could be created. McDermott International will build a $25 million facility to make pipelines for use by the oil and gas industry in the Gulf of Mexico. McDermott signed a 10-year lease with the Port of Gulfport with options to extend it. It will use International Longshoremen Association labor to load the finished pipes on ships for delivery to the Gulf. Construction will begin next year, and the plant will be operational in early 2016. The announcement was welcomed after Chiquita Brands announced that it would move its banana import operations from Gulfport to the Port of New Orleans. The company will receive more than $15 million in incentives to make the switch. ILA Local 1303 said the equivalent of 38 full-time and 42 part-time jobs would be lost when Chiquita leaves.
The spring months have featured a number of events across the state geared to those with a green thumb or who are interested in developing one. A North Mississippi show continues to grow by leaps and bounds. If you're interested in landscaping ideas, unique garden art, or educational sessions, the new Albany Home and Garden Show has something for you. The Mississippi State University Extension Service Master Gardeners created this event, which now attracts more visitors each year. Farm Week's Amy Taylor reports.
The new Albany Home and Garden Show was created only 6 years ago, but it's quickly become popular for its variety of features. Chairman of the event, Tim Burris, says there's much to see and learn at the show.
This project was put together as an MSU extension project, wanted a garden day. Well, with the competitive nature that I have, it turned into a home and garden show. We started with about a half a day, and we've grown to a day and a half now, actually 2 full days. The Master Gardeners work hard. There is about 3,000 to 4,000 volunteer hours go into this show. We have everything from weeds to all kinds of ornamentals with our speakers in the ladies building, roses, hostas, butterfly gardens. Our own Dr. Cagle is here with winemaking. And we talk about fairy gardening, composting, square foot gardening.
Additionally, Burris says local and out-of-state vendors were selling items like plants, fountains, outdoor furniture, woodwork, food and beauty products, various forms of garden art, and much more. One of the seminars featured garden blogger Chris Van Cleve, the Redneck Rosarian, with tips on growing great roses.
All things begin in the soil. So I would recommend to everybody to get a soil test. Roses grow best in a balance of about 6.5 pH, and definitely want to encourage everyone to reach out to their agricultural extension offices and get a soil test to start. You plant that in a very good mixture of soil. I use just a very simple soil mix of topsoil, pine bark nuggets, the miniature pine bark nuggets, and composted manures. If you've got a local source, it'd be great to reach out to some of the local horse breeders in your area, and I'm sure they would be happy to let you come shovel out their stalls.
Van Cleve says roses are easy to grow and have many bloom cycles for long-lasting flowers. The New Albany Home and Garden Show was held at the Union County Fairgrounds. I'm Amy Taylor reporting.
Many of us would love to have a house on a mountain stream. While that may not be monetarily possible, you can create your own babbling brook in your landscape. In this week's Southern Gardening segment, Extension horticulturist Dr. Gary Bachman shows us some examples of how we can build our own flowing water.
One of the most relaxing sounds in the landscape is moving water. That's why water features are so popular. Today I'd like to share with you one of the most outstanding water features I've seen. This water feature encompasses 3 different levels: a multi-tiered fountain, a shallow rocky stream bed, and finally a future koi pond. The circular fountain is composed of different types of ceramic and travertine tiles, and the top of the fountain is beautiful black granite. A small waterfall spills out of the fountain into the stream bed, which is lined with large flagstones and filled with natural river rock. Another waterfall empties into the koi pond, which is lined with earth tone tile and a flagstone ledge. The plant material surrounding the water feature lends a tropical feel. A familiar and popular tropical foliage plant is the shell ginger. I really like the dramatic, irregular variegation of the leaves with their coarse texture and the striking green and creamy yellow streaks. The cutleaf philodendron adds interest and texture with their huge lobed leaves. When combined with the windmill palm, a formal setting is created for the Greek goddess statue. Cosmos adds color by proudly displaying its bright flowers, while a feathery textured foliage pairs with the airy and delicate petals. Listening to the sounds of falling water is the perfect way to relax at the end of the day. I'm horticulturist Gary Bachman for Southern Gardening.
Now, Gary says to be sure to plant the right plants next to your water features so the sound of the water will be enhanced by the beauty of the plants. Well, in our feature segment, Stonnington Farm. This farm grows grass-fed beef and avoids stressing its animals. It says you can taste the difference. Time now for the markets with Leighton. You say the high price of beef is sparking a new type of crime?
Definitely is. Listen to this. In the Chicago, Illinois area, 3 truckloads of refrigerated meat have been reportedly stolen this month alone. Beef, obviously, and we know definitely at the retail level, considered a valuable commodity these days. In the markets this week, U.S. pond bank catfish prices are nearing $1.20 per pound. At least one meat packer plans reduced pork production beginning in July. And the old crop soybean pit remains on edge as we near the end of May. The monthly snapshot of the farm-raised catfish industry in the U.S. is now out. Prices are still up while processing is down. In the month of April, producers in the U.S. received a pond bank price of $1.18 per pound for premium-size live fish. That is 30 cents per pound more than was paid 1 year ago. Farm sales totaled 24 million pounds round weight, a drop of 8% from 1 year ago. Processor sales totaled almost 12.5 million pounds. That figure was up 1% from April 2013. The PED virus continues to impact the pork sector. Farmers are producing animals at record weights to try and compensate for decreased supply. Now, on the processing side, large packers such as Tyson Foods are now reportedly accepting pigs that are up to 15% heavier. Tyson also says it is going to reduce hog slaughter between July and September, when animal supplies are expected to be at their lowest. In the beef sector this week, some analysts describe the May cattle on feed report as more of the same old song. Of course, for producers, it's a pretty good tune as prices are expected to stay firm. Extension Ag economist Brian Williams discussed some of the major points of the on-feed numbers with me. Brian, did the monthly cattle on feed come out about as expected?
It did. The number of cattle on feed was down about 1%, and the marketings were down about 2%, and both of those were just right in line with expectations. And then our placements were down 5%, which was a little bit lower than what was expected.
So it sounds like the bigger picture is pretty much about the same as we've been talking about for a number of months.
It is. Same story, different month. We got tight numbers, and the demand's still staying strong. And
with the tight supply and prices kind of up, is that impacting exports at all, that picture?
It's not. Actually, our exports, I was looking at some of the numbers earlier, and for the year they're up 5% compared to a year ago. Mexico's a big customer, and exports to Mexico and Hong Kong were both up 85%, and then exports to South Korea are up 13%.
Well, on the face of it, it looks like with the picture about the same, prices looks like they could stay where they are. Is that what you're seeing, or what's your opinion?
For the foreseeable future, yeah. It looks like the number of cattle out there, cow-calves, those numbers are low. The producers are trying to retain heifers, so it looks like for the foreseeable future we're going to see tight supplies and high prices.
Now the feeder cattle market in particular, some analysts, if you read online, have described as being on fire, the price picture there. What's your opinion on that? Are we perhaps nearing a top with the prices running so strong in feeder cattle especially?
I think we're going to see more of the same. As I mentioned, producers are trying to retain more heifers, and that's really just tightening up that supply even more, at least until the herd gets built up.
Well, we're at the Memorial Day weekend. Is that likely, you know, how is this, the high price picture going to play with what's usually a little bump in demand for grilling out, cooking out?
Well, there is a bump in demand for the beef. It looks like the cash sales are a little bit slow so far this week, but they're expected to pick up towards the end of the week. But it's grilling season. Memorial Day is a huge grilling weekend, and so I think the demand's still going to be strong over the weekend.
Let's break from the markets now to look at our trivia quiz for this week. The Ag Statistics Service has released a county-by-county breakdown of the average age of Mississippi farmers. Here's our question. Which county in the state has the oldest farmers? Is the answer Benton, or Tippah, or Attala, or Prentice? I'll tell you at the end of the markets.
We're going to pause for a short break on Farm Week. Coming up, we'll look at the calendar and the rest of the markets. Leighton Span reports that corn farmers should wait on pricing their new crop while the pressure is on soybean prices. In the feature segment today, Stonnington Farm. Their beef is grass-fed and stress-free.
I've got a lot of choices to make in the coming years, and I really want to make sure that I get it all right. I want to discover who I am, where I belong, what my dreams are. I want to find my hidden talents and see where those skills can take me in the future. I need leadership given today to help me make the right decisions tomorrow, and I have that with Mississippi 4-H.
Before we get back to the markets, let's look at the Farm Week calendar. Mississippi State University's annual Cotton Insect Scout Schools are about to start up. Continuing education credits are available, and these can help renew your consultant's license. The hours are 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. The first takes place May 28th at the MSU North Mississippi R&E Center at Verona. The second will be the next day at the Delta R&E Center at Stoneville. June 4th, go to the Clay Lyle Entomology Building on campus in Starkville. June 5th, go to the MSU Coahoma County Extension Service office in Clarksdale. There's no charge, and lunch is provided at the schools. A vegetable field day will be held Thursday, June 12th at the Beaumont Horticulture Unit of Mississippi State University. The day is free and the hours are 8 a.m. to noon. The unit is located on Highway 15 north of Beaumont. Vegetables and muscadine grapes will be covered. Deer control, stevia, and hops production will be covered as well. Go to our Farm Week website at farmweek.msucares.com for information on these and other events. Now check out this week's Farm Week Snapshot.
Some analysts believe the corn market is now in what they term a sit-and-wait mode. News may be limited until the next supply-demand and crop reports in June. However, trader Naomi Bloom notes that if there's a significant change in weather, one that alters the May yield and carry-out projections, corn futures could get back above $5.
If the weather going forward isn't wonderful and that yield goes even from 165 down to 162, that makes carryout go from the 1.7 number down to 1.4, and that absolutely justifies corn to get back above $5. But most likely you're going to look at a situation where we have nothing to talk about for 3 weeks until the next USDA report. It's going to be a great time for the day traders to have some fun just trading the market ranges, and we have to just sit and wait for weather.
AgFacts.com reports this week that U.S. wheat prices overall continue to fall as demand fails to materialize. Analysts note that with prices becoming increasingly oversold, even the smallest fundamental support could help provide some boost to prices. And this, of course, would give wheat producers another opportunity to sell more of this year's crop. In the soybean pit in the aftermath of the large global carryout reported by the USDA some 2 weeks ago, there continues to be pressure on oil crop prices. There's also volatility coming into play due to a Bloomberg article reporting that global bean demand might be higher than estimated as China accelerates purchases along with some other countries. But at this point, that's more theory than fact, and like corn, there's a wait-and-see attitude in the face of little real news.
That's exactly what's going on, and a lot of traders still keeping an eye on South America and global demand. The USDA did make the global carryout again large, and so that's keeping pressure on the market. But November beans right now are doing a wonderful job of holding $12 support, and as long as they do that, we'll see them continue to trade range bound between $12 and $12.30. And the risk, though, is if the weather turns good and then we see the $12 support area fail, because then there's not much to catch it to $11.50. So don't sit on your heels, keep an eye on it every day.
Before our new feature story, let's check the trivia answer for this week. And the correct choice is A. The average age of farm operators in Benton County is 64.4 years. They are the oldest in the state of Mississippi.
In our feature segment today, Farm Week's Amy Taylor reports on a South Mississippi cattle farm with a unique story that proves innovative ideas can pay off with the proper planning and resources.
Artists at Stonnington Farm in Perkinston, the owners and ranch staff have tapped into a niche market by providing beef products from grass-fed cattle. Owner Michael Stonnington says feeding exclusively grass instead of grain provides an alternative beef product that's healthy without sacrificing flavor. With help from the Mississippi State University Extension Service, the farm developed a system based on responsible family farming. At first glance, Stonnington Farm in Perkinston, Mississippi doesn't look much different from most well-managed cattle operations, but many aspects of the farm might surprise you. For example, the owner, Michael Stonnington, isn't only a cattle farmer. He's also an orthopedic surgeon who served in the United States Air Force, finishing at the rank of lieutenant colonel. Stonnington was actually born in Australia, and when he was a young child, his father's medical career brought the family to the U.S. Fast forwarding to present day, Dr. Stonnington is now a surgeon and partner at Hattiesburg Bone and Joint who can talk cattle with his patients.
When they first meet me, and if they don't know anything about me, they assume that I have a farm and then I just visit it every now and then. And then when they find out that I actually live on the farm and it's a working farm, they're quite shocked. But generally, most of my patients know that I'm a cattle farmer. We talk about the techniques we use to get the most out of our grass, and we also talk about what kind of cows we have and why we like one over the other.
Dr. Stonnington decided to begin cattle farming after Hurricane Katrina destroyed all the timber on the property. To the casual observer, it seems simple to just clear out the fallen trees, grow some grass, and add cattle. But there's much more to the process, and that's where Mississippi State University Extension Service agent Brad Jones comes in.
I guess the main thing that I feel like we've been able to help the Stonningtons a lot with the last few years, they've taken a lot of this place that was in pine trees and they've cleared it out, got it back into pasture, and are trying to do a proper job maintaining their fertilization programs, being under weed control, making their own hay, in the summertime, and we've made a lot of recommendations to help make those programs more efficient with them. Spend a lot of time with them going over their soil sample results, doing some weed ID and discussing with them some spray programs to help control those areas.
Furthermore, Jones says Mississippi is blessed with healthy, nutritious forages, so raising grass-fed beef is encouraged. Dr. Stonnington says lots of research generated the decision to exclusively feed grass, and he's happy with the results.
The health benefits are, I think, unquestionable. What a lot of people don't realize is that grass-fed cows, they have a fat content that is a much more healthy profile. They have higher omega-3 fatty acids. They have higher conjugated linoleic acid, which is CLA you might read about in articles. And they can be heart healthy and help prevent disease. The vitamin profile in the beef is better. And it's very similar in fat content to chicken breasts. And contrary to what a lot of people might think is that the flavor of the beef is gamey, that is just not true. If you raise your grass-fed cattle on good pastures, you're going to get a very flavorful beef. In fact, there's some studies that show that people chose grass-fed flavor over grain-fed flavor.
Dr. Stonnington says his medical background is instrumental in managing a healthy herd, and he does his best to use natural methods.
We do use vaccines and do use wormers, but we don't use any antibiotics. And that's why we're natural. Natural meaning that I do use certain things that I think are important for the health of the animal. If an animal is sick, and I've determined that they do need an antibiotic, then that animal is treated because I don't want an animal to suffer. So that animal will be treated with an antibiotic, but then it's going to be culled from the program.
Furthermore, Extension Agent Brad Jones says using forage-based systems can bring economic benefits to producers like Dr. Stonnington.
That's a niche market that we see a lot of growth in the last few years as we see more urbanization, I guess is a proper word, in Hattiesburg and along our coastal areas, along the Mississippi coast, New Orleans and Mobile. We're close tie to all those areas. And there is a niche market there that really seems to be growing, and if it's there, we need to be capitalizing on that as farmers. There's some premiums to be seen.
In addition, Dr. Stonnington talks about where you can find Stonnington Farm products.
We market through Corner Market, which is a grocery store in Hattiesburg area, and it's fresh. It's not been frozen. It's been dry aged for 2 weeks. We do all cuts. We have an internet website, stoningtonfarm.com. On that site, it tells how we market to individuals, and the individuals get all the cuts as well. And it's vacuum packed, and a vacuum packing that we use can actually last up to 2 years in the freezer, and then 21 days in the refrigerator.
In addition to Corner Market, Stonnington burgers are on the restaurant menu at Keg and Barrel in Hattiesburg, and products have been available at Purple Parrot and the Hattiesburg Train Depot for special events. Dr. Stonnington's wife, Katie, manages the marketing and business end.
I've learned to appreciate salespeople that need to go out and try to push whatever product they have, because you've got nothing to really go on until you're established. And I think the turning point was getting our meat in the Corner Market, where it got exposed, people ate it, they knew that it was a very good product. That was the best part, but it was tough. We were calling people up, restaurants, point blank, asking them, telling them about our product, and they really knew nothing about it.
Katie Stonnington says her favorite aspect of the farm is knowing it provides the community with safe, locally grown products. Furthermore, Dr. Stonnington talks about challenges in the business.
The weather can be the most difficult thing about raising grass-fed cattle. When we have a drought, I cannot feed grain, so I can't supplement with grain, and so I have to figure out what to do. And so a lot of what I supplement with is alfalfa pellets, and these alfalfa pellets are expensive, so they really cut into my revenue. But I got to do what's right for the cattle.
The Stonnington family and full-time ranch staff believe in managing a healthy, stress-free herd. They handle the cattle daily and simply use voice commands to gather the herd for pasture rotation. Dr. Stonnington's daughter, Grace, and son, Christian, talk about their roles at the farm.
A few times every month we vaccinate the cows, and then usually on the weekends I usually work out. I do stuff on the farm. My dad and I, and some of my brothers, we ride around and we work the cows, we move them into different fields. Some of the fields get eaten down pretty fast by the cows, and so we have other fields that weren't used by the cows. And so once the other fields were, were eaten by the cows, or most of the grass is gone, then we move them to another field.
I cut hay, I fluff hay, I drag fields, I drag seeds in. I sometimes spread out lime, and I spread seeds out, and I halter break calves for showing, and I put hay out. I work herds of cows. I vaccinate them. I move cows with my dad.
Additionally, Christian shows livestock in 4-H, exhibiting cattle raised at the farm. In the future, the Stonnington farm family hopes to continue providing healthy, locally grown products at more locations in the state. From Perkinston, Mississippi, I'm Amy Taylor reporting. You can watch this story on Stonnington Farm on our Farmweek website, Facebook page, or YouTube. Our website address is farmweek.msucares.com. We'll also be available at twitter.com/farmweek. We'll also have links and contact information for you to get in touch with Stonnington Farm.
Good job, Amy. We are at the end of Farm Week for this week. On our next show, some say it's as much a symbol of Mississippi State University as Bully.
It is the Edam cheese made by the Animal and Dairy Science Department. They've been doing it for more than 75 years.
In Southern Gardening, raised beds. You'll visit a gardener who's taken them to new heights. These even water themselves. For the rest of the Farm Week crew, I'm Artis Ford.
And I'm Leighton Spann. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.